This isn't a story meant to entertain, because 15 children saw the same thing, every single night, and none of the adults ever saw it. This happened to my mother when she was 6. She lived in a small village in Myanmar, in a group of houses surrounded by a single gate. Every evening was the same. The children would gather in one house to pray together. Simple, peaceful, normal, until it wasn't. Because every night, right as the prayers began, they would arrive. 2 figures, one taller, one shorter. They didn't walk in like people. They just appeared. Here's the part that doesn't make sense. No one could see their bodies. Nothing. No face. No hands. No shape. Just 2 caps, floating, worn like someone invisible was standing underneath them. And this didn't happen once. It happened every night. The same pattern. They would enter, stand quietly against the wall, as if they were part of the prayer. Then when it ended, they would leave. Together. This wasn't one child imagining things. There were 15 of them. Different ages, different families. And every single one described the same thing. Exactly the same. But here's what made it worse. No adult ever saw them. Not once. People started talking. Some said they were jinn. Not ghosts. Something else. Something that exists, but doesn't belong to our world. Just outside the gate, there was an old well, deep, forgotten. People believed those things. Came from there, watching, waiting. Then one day, the well was destroyed. And after that, they never came back. 15 children saw the same thing, over and over again. And maybe that doesn't prove anything, but it does raise a question. How many things exist that we simply aren't meant to see? When I was around 6 years old, my family was struggling financially. We couldn't afford the rent where we were living, so we had to move. Not somewhere better, just somewhere cheaper. After a few days of searching, my dad found a house, and strangely, it was actually good, spacious, clean, quiet neighborhood, and the rent, way lower than anything we had seen. It felt like luck, too much luck. We didn't question it. We paid the advance immediately, before anyone else could take it. The first few days were normal. Nothing strange. Nothing unusual until one night. I was lying in bed. Awake, not dreaming, not half asleep, just staring into the dark. Then I heard it. 2 voices, a man and a woman, arguing. At first it was low, unclear. Then suddenly, the man shouted, "I'm going to fucking kill you." The woman's voice, shaking. "Please, don't. Just leave me alone." I froze. I thought it was my parents. It had to be. But something felt wrong. The voices didn't sound like they were coming from another room. They sounded close, too close. The next morning, I asked my parents, "Were you fighting last night?" They looked confused. They said no. No argument. No shouting, nothing. But it didn't stop. It happened again. And again, always at night. Always the same voices, the same words. The same fear in that woman's voice, and every time, I was fully awake. At some point, I stopped asking because I already knew the answer. Whatever I was hearing wasn't coming from my parents. Much later, my parents found out the truth before we moved in. A man had lived in that house, and one night, he shot his own mother, right there. And then, he turned the gun on himself. We stayed in that house for a long time because we had no choice. The rent was cheap. Now I know why. I didn't believe in anything until I spent one night in that house. And I swear, something stood right next to me, in the dark. I was 16, staying at my friend Chris's place. Big house, too big, the kind where silence feels loud. I'd been there before, a lot, and small things always felt off. Doors open when no one touched them. That feeling, like someone was behind you. But every time you turn, nothing. Chris hated talking about it. Especially at night. That night, his parents weren't home. It was just us. And his dog Max. Everything felt normal. Until it didn't. Chris went to the kitchen. And when he came back, he wasn't the same. He didn't explain. Just said, "Let's sleep." I was lying there, staring into the dark. That's when I saw it. On the table next to me, a pair of earphones. At first, nothing. Then slowly, they started moving. Not falling. Not slipping. Moving. Like something invisible was pulling them, inch by inch, toward the edge. I didn't move. I just watched until they finally dropped onto the floor. Chris came in. I told him. He didn't laugh. He didn't question it. He just looked at me and said, "Something happened to me too." In the kitchen, a bottle fell on its own, and then the fridge door slammed shut. Hard. We turned off the lights, tried to ignore it, tried to sleep. Then, click, the lamp beside us turned on. We both saw it. No one moved. No one spoke. A few seconds passed. Then, click, it turned off. Silence. 10 seconds, maybe less. Then, click, back on. That's when Max started growling. Low, deep, not at us. At something right next to the table. His eyes locked on empty space. But it didn't feel empty anymore. It felt occupied. Suddenly, the light shut off. Max exploded out of the room, chasing something we couldn't see. The door slammed behind him. We ran after him, down the stairs, into the dark. Then, a loud, painful yelp. That was it. We didn't wait. Didn't think. We ran. Out of the house. Straight into the road. From outside, we turned back and saw it. Our bedroom light slowly turn on. Years later, we found out they built that house on top of buried human remains. And maybe that explains it. Or maybe it doesn't. Because whatever was in that room wasn't just in the house. It was right next to us.